Welcome back, you lot. There's two Commemorative Series models that we need to take a look at. These are the ones that will be available at various Warhammer events and so on and so forth. And to start with, we have Cadia Unbroken. So we've got a Cadian Castellan, and it says that this Castellan, she is observing the battlefield in a moment of stoic calm. They haven't painted her that way. They've painted her shedding a single tear. Now, I don't know whether they meant to do that. I would suggest that's possibly stoic calm. It might be that withholding the tears as the planet crumbles around you, maybe there's something there that they're going for. But if it is supposed to just be a case of calmly looking out over the battlefield, there's quite a little bit of emotion under that there eye that you can see. I think it's just the way it's been painted, but it was certainly an interesting choice making this particular character look on the verge of tears. I'm not sure about that particular choice. Overall, fine. Perfectly decent looking miniature. The armour looks good. The coat looks fantastic. Obviously, solid hat. They've always got solid hats, this lot. It's a solid hat. I do like the bionic eye there. That's very cool. The pose is... I feel like they've used this on Commemorative Series miniatures before. Like once or twice, maybe being a conservative estimate. I don't mind... Did I say estimate instead of estimate? I think I might have said estimate. That's not what I meant, though. I meant estimate. I feel like it's a decent pose. It's a perfectly fine pose. There's nothing wrong with the pose at all. I'm sure they've done this kind of thing for the last few sort of special edition, especially like baseline human models they've done. But maybe it's a very standard, familiar pose, and that's why it's kind of jumping out the way that it is. That being said, is it better than 1 foot on top of a rock? A tactical rock? I think maybe. Maybe it probably is. Also, the sash is very nice on this. Like the sash. The sort of belt thing going around the middle there. Looks good. Looks nice. An interesting choice to have one hand holding the other glove. I'm not sure about that one personally. That's one of those things where I'm not really sure what it necessarily adds, except for a little bit of initial confusion, because the way the arm is resting over the strap, the hand being across the strap, but then there also being additional material in the hand, it creates a bit of a weird, like, I don't know, the layering on it isn't doing it for me. It just looks a little bit odd, but I think it's just because of the placement of that strap that's holding the scabbard for the sword. Yeah, it's fine. I don't think I would have personally made that call myself. Probably just having both hands wearing gloves, or neither, that would have, for me, been a little bit better. But that's just me, you know. Again, the fact that I think the paint job gives that impression of a single tear, it being followed by Castellans are often the senior commanders in a given battle, with hearts hardened by long years of brutal combat. It's just like, it's just not presenting that way with that particular paint job. That's all I'll say. I'll stop talking about it now, but it struck me when I first saw it. I was like, oh man, she looks upset. And she's not supposed to, which is sort of counter to the message if you see that, which you may well not. You may look at that and not really pick up on it, or decide that it's not being interpreted the way it should be. That's totally fine, but that's just something that came to mind when I first saw this. Overall, when it comes to this, I would say I'm whelmed. I'm whelmed. It's a Cadian officer. Looks like a Cadian officer, standing like a Cadian officer. It's whelming. Next up, we've got Dorner's Reward, which is a Steelhelm from the cities of Sigmar. And again, decent looking infantry model. Nothing really to complain about. I would suggest also maybe nothing to write home about either. Perfectly good. Perfectly good. It helps that the cities of Sigmar stuff always looks solid. Like, always looks great. I do feel like on this particular shield, there is way more like gappage at the top than you get from your standard Steelhelm infantry. It's been a little while since I've looked at them, but I feel like the gap at the top of the shield is not usually that severe. I say the gap. I think actually, thinking about it, it's only the shield on the like officer that has that extra ornamentation. I think your standard infantry don't have any of that at the top. I've loaded it up so we can have a quick look, and yes, I did kind of remember, sort of, yeah. The shields for the most part don't have that extra iron railing-esque decoration at the top, but your sort of champion of the unit does. Weirdly, with this one in specific, the gaps in the decoration at the top look really, really pronounced, and even though functionally the shield is no smaller than the ones held by your standard Steelhelms, it makes it look like a significant portion of the shield is just a conduit for spear tips. I don't know how else to put it. It feels like the top of that shield is specifically designed to just guide pointy things towards the face and neck. Now, that's not a fair interpretation, and I will immediately say that is not a fair interpretation at all, because we know that the shields don't all have that, and this is the same size as the other shields, it's just got extra stuff on top. If anything, probably he can just, see a bit more and have more protection. But I just cannot get out of my head the idea of someone chucking a javelin or something, and there being a awful series of odd bounces as he thinks he's got a bit more protection than he does, and it just sort of gets funneled through. Unlikely to ever happen to the lad. Clearly, this is a veteran. This is someone who's been through quite a few instances of severe war and bloodshed. Doesn't look all too happy. The shield is absolutely mangled at the bottom. So, clearly not just some random guy with no experience. But, I don't know. It just has that vibe for me of, if only you didn't have all of those interesting shapes at the top of the shield, that spear tip might not have found his eyeball. I've never been a big fan of the Steelhelm with the stick on it. I don't know how else to put it, but that ornament, the fact it's so tall, I've just never been a big fan of that. I prefer the helms without that kind of ornamentation on it. The armour looks great, but the armour always looks great because it's Cities of Sigmar. The sword looks good. I do like the bits of blood and entrails dripping off it. That's quite nice. Yeah, I mean, overall, perfectly good Steelhelm model. Absolutely perfectly good. Nothing really wrong with it, apart from comedy shield top, but that's nothing unique to this model because it's present on the leader of the squad. So, picking it out for that, bit harsh. The pose is definitely more at rest than at fight. Terrible way to phrase that, but you get what I mean. Yeah, it's fine. I think for this, also whelmed, honestly. So be able to get these at AdeptCon first, and then there's going to be a bunch of other events, and they'll be there too. But I've said again, these miniatures may be made available through other routes in the future. I really hope they do. I hope they actually do that so that people can get hold of them, because not everyone can go to events. So, I mean, really, at the most basic level of it, you want people to give you money, let them give you money. Easy. So there you go, those are the new Commemorative Series miniatures. Let me know what you thought of them in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you for the next one.